Okay, I got 1:31, Kendra?
Yeah.
Good to go?
Yeah.
Council, we'll call the meeting to order. And I want to thank council for coming, administration for being here, those in the gallery. The public are provided two options to view the council meeting. You can join us at 153 of Keller Street, and you can also view the meetings on YouTube, the Southwest Middlesex YouTube channel. I remind council that this session is recorded, and if there's a technical difficulty and recording stopped, business still goes on as usual. Call the meeting to order at 1:30. Council, is there any declaration or pecuniary interest of the general nature thereof? Seeing none, we will move. The agenda is in front of you for approval. I was wondering if we could move the bylaws ahead of the in-committee meeting, and it would convenience the people who are attending the meeting that don't have to be here. They can get out a little bit early. Is there any objection to that? Okay, so the agenda will be approved as amended with the bylaws section being moved ahead of the camera session. Council, the chair has not been advised of any delegations or presentations, and just correct me if I'm wrong. Consent agenda is before you. I'll read them. If council wish to speak to any of these, if your concerns are modest in nature, we'll deal with them immediately. If they're more complex, we'll move them to new business. Draft minutes of the regular meeting, February 19th. Draft minutes of the recreation meeting, February 4th. Building permit 4th quarter, year end. Arnie, I thank you very much for being here. Arnie, just at the end of this, I may ask you to say a few words. I'll just get the rest out of the way. Middlesex London Health Unit, update. Municipality of North Bruce Peninsula, support regarding cell phone towers and their maintenance. And Municipality of North Bruce Peninsula, support regarding tow hooks being on vehicles. Are there any changes or additions, council wish or concerns? I don't see any. The chair will entertain a motion that they receive items 5.1 to 5.6 as set out on the consent agenda for March 5th. Is there a mover and a seconder? Councillor Myers, Deputy Mayor Scholdice. Questions? All in favor? Yep. Oh, yep. All in favor? Carried. Arnie, it's really great to have you here. Okay, thank you very much for providing council with that report.
Yeah, so after Arnie's finished, we'll have to go back and get a mover and seconder for confirmation of the agenda.
Okay, will do. Arnie, go ahead. Give your update.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so Mayor and Council, my fourth quarter and year-end report was on the consent agenda for Council's information. Ultimately, the year-end was, 2024 was actually a good year for Southwest Middlesex. There's one deceiving number, and that's the number of new dwellings created in 2024 compared to 2023. In 2023, as I told Council, I think in my third quarter report this year, that 2023 had a very successful townhouse development go. It's really inflated the numbers in a good way in 2023. Unfortunately, we didn't have a similar townhouse development last year, but the dwellings created overall is a very healthy number, what we've seen. We have 18 new dwellings created compared to the 34, but minus that townhouse development, then we're pretty much on par with the previous year. And in my report, there's several tables, and I guess table 2 is a good comparator for a number of new dwellings created by year. And in 2024, there was 18 new dwellings created. And if you compare that to 2022, 2021, and 2020, it's better than those three. I can tell you back to 2020. So it's in that sense, it's been a very good year, and we're looking forward to this year for some more developments, hopefully to bring those numbers back up, as well as interest rates and things on a decline. A couple sections in the report just to point out to council for information. Again, this year we're looking at development charges being rolled out by Middlesex County. So where no DCs have been charged in Southwest Middlesex to date, because Southwest Middlesex does not charge development charges. The county has development charges now that will be added on to building permit fees going forward. Up to $5,600 for a new single-family dwelling. So that is something new that our builders will have to absorb. Again, the tables, there are several tables in the report. Table 1 is a comparator of number of permits issued, construction value, and fees collected. Table 2, which I referenced already, talks about specifically the number of dwelling units that have been created over the past several years, just a good comparator. Table 3 is demonstrates where the building activity is. Glencoe, Wardsville, Appin, Melbourne, some general areas that we try to summarize where growth is occurring in the municipality. And then table 4 is a specific breakdown of types of permits that we're seeing. The first 2 columns talk about the types of permits in the fourth quarter, year-to-date totals, and then comparison to what we saw in 2023. And table 5 summarizes our service municipalities. So as council knows, we service 5 municipalities for building inspection. And the 5th table sort of outlines how Southwest Middlesex compares to the other municipalities that we service in the county. You say one of the big winners in the county was North Middlesex. Of all of our settlement areas in our five communities, Ailsa Craig was the big winner with 44 new dwellings in Ailsa Craig alone last year. So things have done really well in North Middlesex. Ailsa Craig has a very aggressive builders group and have done well, and that includes some townhouses as well there. And finally, there's just a breakdown sheet of what we saw in the fourth quarter, just a summary of the building permit applications that we've seen. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, thank you, Council. All right, thank you, Marty, and Council. Certainly, we can take up Marty's invitation for questions. Are there any? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Vink.
Thank you, Mayor. Alan, too. Marty, I see in institutional buildings you have 2. I'm just wondering if you could mention which 2. I know the one, but because this is a large amount of money, so.
Yeah, through the Mayor to Councilor Vink, certainly the major institutional building is the Babcock Nursing Home in Wardsville. That permit was issued in the fourth quarter at $16.2 million. I don't, off the cuff, I can't say what the other one was. I probably had about 100,000, unfortunately. I can look it up and let you know. It wasn't in the fourth quarter, and unfortunately, I can't say.
I just thought that the nursing home was more than that. That's a lot of money.
That's good. Well, I don't see any more. Oh, yes, go ahead.
Maybe this is for our own staff. I'm just wondering, Marty, you mentioned about development charges in Middlesex Center. I just wondered where we are with development charges. Will we be receiving the future audit?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, through you, Mayor. Yes, so we have kicked off that project once again. It has been on hold for some time. We'll be working through that process, and Council will see something this year that will be to implement this year, pending all the Council's review and the public engagement process as required.
Thank you.
Great. Any further questions? Well, Artie, we hope you're really busy this coming spring when things dry up and we get some movement here. We're we're hoping we can get shovels on the ground. We've been saying that for a long time, and we really hope it comes to fruition. Thank you again. We're delighted with your services and being here. Glad to have you. Okay?
Thank you.
Be safe. Yeah, Amanda, correct me if I'm wrong on any of these committee of adjustment. There is none.
Can we go back and get the
Oh, yes, I sure can. Approval of the agenda as stated. Moved by Deputy Mayor Schuldex, seconded by Councilor McGill. All in favor? Carried. Now we can proceed legally, eh? Open meetings none. Staff report 8.1 is in regard to the Ontario Petroleum Foundation grant application. And we will let Amanda walk us through this.
Thank you through you, Mayor. Tonight, or today, we're looking for seeking council's support to submit an application to the Ontario Trillium Fund Capital Grant Program for Project 2000 for Revitalization and Accessibility Improvements. The project aims to enhance accessibility and infrastructure at Project 2000 as a local use space. The Ontario Trillium Fund Capital Grant provides between $10,000 and $200,000 in funding, making it a good fit for this project. If submitted, the application does not require any financial commitment on behalf of the municipality at this time, and potentially in the future. So we have trimmed the project budget slightly from what is shown here to get it under the $200,000 mark. And if we were provided 100% funding through the program, no funds would be required from the municipality. To strengthen the application, and because of the unique, I'll say, history behind Project 2000's building, we have consulted with the Glencoe District Lions Club as well as the Glencoe Agricultural Society on their hopeful partnership in the project. And pleased to report that both organizations were very keen to partner on this project, and we thank them for they were very just great in facilitating that conversation with us. So they have, both organizations have supported the collaborative agreement that is attached to the report, and that will be submitted with the grant application. Those kinds of collaborative agreements and that partnership really does strengthen the grant application and also speaks to the shared asset. So today we're seeking approval to authorize staff to submit the grant application due today at 5. We already have it in the portal ready for the approval. And to receive the collaborative agreement with the Lions Club and Agricultural Society for information.
Okay, sounds good. Council, any questions? The recommendations for you, there's no point in reading it, it's been circulated. The recommendation is the remover that staff proceed with this application.
I'll support it.
Okay, Councilor Myers has moved it, seconded by Councilor Haggett. Questions? All in favor? Carried. Amanda, if you need to advise staff that council will approve that, you certainly can, or if there's anything we can do to accommodate you, let us know. Lease extension regarding 157 Water Street. Council, you will know this building as the OPP building in Glencoe. Go ahead, like to walk us through that.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. This report is presenting a proposed lease extension and amending agreement for 157 Water Street, the location, as the Mayor said, of the OPP detachment. Our current lease is not set to expire until the end of this year, December 31st. However, we've just been proactive on speaking with our partners at the OPP about securing a continued tenancy. We have had a lease in place at that site with the OPP since 1976. And the proposed amending agreement does extend the additional lease for 5 years, so from 2026 to 2030. There haven't been many changes to the lease in the last kind of 10 years that I've reviewed. So in this one, we were able to obtain a few amendments for both parties. The first one being is there is a structured rent increase proposed for the next 5-year term. And it would go up $1 from our current rate per square foot for 26, and then 25 cents per square foot over the next years of the term. As well as the OPP has asked for an annual HVAC inspection requirement, which is something they're really pushing. So we've agreed to that. And then the others are mostly kind of administrative updates to ensure there's a future option for extension. So at the end of 2030, we can do the same thing to ensure their tenancy. So that's a report. It's provided to you for information. I would ask that you approve the lease extension and lending agreement. And then there's also a bylaw included for your future consideration with the agreement as well.
Okay, yes, Councilor McGill, you have a question?
Yeah, through the mayor to Amanda, who pays the utilities?
That's a great question.
Maybe I missed it, but I read through the agreement, I couldn't find that, so I didn't know, is this 31,800 plus utilities? I don't know.
I'll have to check with the council.
We can check and get back to you, council, sorry, or unless.
No, I've never signed off on an invoice for any bills for that.
I believe it's inclusive, like I believe that they pay their utilities, but we can confirm that for you.
Well, can we defer this until the next meeting, until you confirm that?
Yes, if council wishes to do that, absolutely. It doesn't expire till the end of the year, so we have some time.
Do you want to make that a motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion that we defer this recommendation until we find out, confirm that it's 31,000, if the stated amount plus utilities. And I think if that's it, that should be in the agreement somewhere.
Okay, is there a second for that? Councilor Shoulders? All in favor that, oh yes, yeah.
I just wondered, when is our current, microphone, thank you.
No.
When is our current agreement with, the OPP expire?
The lease agreement?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
well, the agreement with the OPP, not the lease agreement on the building, our agreement with the OPP.
I think it's one and the same, isn't it?
no, our agreement, so I don't believe we enter a contract with the OPP every year and then they bill us for service, so I don't think there's an expiry date on
So
that.
it's a yearly renewal, do you think then, that we go with the OPP?
So we receive, yes, an annual renewal from the OPP, updating us on the cost of their services. We don't have like a contract that we have retained police services for like 5 years or 10. I think based on our current model, it's assumed we will continue to provide OPP and the OPP services unless we were to notify them otherwise because we were forming a police department or something
I
like
just
that.
like to make note that because we're getting a large increase next year, and what's been different this year, but we've got a substantial increase next year, so I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, Councilor Hagan.
So, say we did change, police force within the 5-year lease, do we have to have something there that we're free to go? Because we need that building, if they didn't like it, we switched. So we switched, and we need that building.
Or a municipal police force.
Yeah, so, but they could say, sorry, we're keeping it for the 5-year lease. I just throwing out here, something says that there's a change.
I don't know, does council has the appetite to take that far in the future?
Through you, Mayor, answer the question. I don't believe there is a clause in the lease right now that would automatically allow termination for an alternate use of the building. That's something we can also review and report back on to council.
I guess from the chair's point of view, I just don't want to let it go too long. I think that allows a certain presence of the OPP in Glencoe in that building. And I hate to lose that. I think, I know they're not there all the time, they do the paperwork there, but it still has a certain presence to it that I think is beneficial to Southwest Middlesex. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor, through you. And I just had a signal from our treasurer who was able to step out and confirm that the municipality does not cover the utilities for the building. So if the rental payments are exclusive of the any utilities, so the OPP pays the utilities as well as the rent.
Sounds good. All right.
Okay.
Made your motion?
Well, I kind of assumed that, but I thought it should be in the agreement. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I kind of assumed that, but I thought it should be in the agreement, that they pay the utilities. So can I change my resolution so that we confirm this? As long as it gets added in there that they pay the utilities?
Sure.
As a friendly amendment.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I'd like to say. And also I see here under section 5, general B, it says the tenant shall continue to have the right to terminate this lease at any time during the 11th extension term and in any extensions or renewals thereof without penalty, damages, compensations, or bonus, by providing the landlord with no less than 12 months prior written notice. So is that what people were asking about?
Yeah.
I think that-
Great, yeah.
Thank you.
Where did you see that? Where did you see that?
It's it's number 5, general, B, in the agreement.
Okay. Well, there's a motion on the floor. It's, is it been amended? That motion? Or do you wish to-
Just so that we approve the recommendation with adding in to the lease, that,
Okay,
just to make it 100% clear that they are
okay,
paying.
then council accept the recommendation, with the conditions that, clarification on utility costs be part of the lease agreement. Okay, it has been moved to second. Mike, you're all right with that? Okay, all in favor? Carried.
Mayor,
Yep.
since the lease law can be terminated by the tenant, it doesn't mean that we can terminate
I think you have already.
it. So that should be in
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah, you just don't want to discourage, it'd be a property farm, the OPP probably that deals with this. And, it would be the force itself, so. Yeah, it's,
I can take it as direction.
Yeah.
It's for that amendment as well.
okay, take it as a direction, okay. That's good. Okay, we'll move on then. Eight,
Point of order, we would like to have an amendment on that motion, that the termination could be on either part, on 12 months
I
notice.
think, we've done that,
A new motion.
yeah, it'd be a new motion made. Okay, you'll make that a new motion?
Yes, I will.
Okay, is there a second for that? Councilor Hannigan, all in favor? Carried. Okay, thanks, Martin, for that, that's good. 1.3, long-term facility needs optimization. Amanda and Laurel may want to get at that. Could you start it off, Amanda?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. As you know, we're working through our 2025 budget deliberation process. And as a result of reviewing that process and the previously presented 3-year phased enhancement of the Glencoe Operations Center presented to council, staff have found another option that we wanted to share with council for information and consideration regarding the long-term facility needs of the municipality, not only of the Public Works Department, but other departments. As you know, the Glencoe Operations Center is considered in poor condition and there are some enhancements required to have it meet operational needs. The previously presented 3-year enhancement plan for that facility does cost $1.3 million, but does not fully resolve space efficiency or safety concerns. And it also does not provide any additional space for community services and facilities, which, as you know, is also something we've been looking at in recent times as a challenge. So there is an alternate option for consideration, which does utilize the lands we currently own near Trillium Landfill and presents a consolidation option for a new modern operations center, which would consolidate all of the existing public works facilities, so Appin, Wardsville, and Glencoe, as well as updating a transfer station. And the approach would future-proof for 25 years, like at least all of our existing facilities have. So the idea would be that Through the retaining of approximately 20 acres of land at the Trillium landfill site, the municipality could sell off its other assets, including the remainder of that farm site, to partially self-fund a new consolidated facility. And it is proposed over a 4-year term with the potential of $250,000 included in the 2025 budget. You'll note it was not included in the scenarios that we saw today, earlier today, to explore a new consolidated facility. So this would be a strategic investment in the municipality's facility future and ensure long-term cost savings, efficiency, and improved service delivery. So we wanted council to be aware of the potential option before budget deliberations closed. So Mauro and I are both happy to answer any questions.
The invitation has been extended, council, or are there any questions? Yep, go ahead, Councilor Nick.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Firstly, I'd like to point out that what was said this morning, nothing paid to move equipment around. That was mentioned during the budget meetings, so that's the same thing here. And I don't think it's efficient to have everything at one service. I would like to see, again, Ward 3 included when there's new fire hall and there's an addition, a workshop, it should be put on there. And because climate change is a big deal, so when we have everything centralized, we're going to be, we control the roads all the time. Having 3 stations would be far more economical and better for climate change and more efficient.
And that's an opinion, yep. Deputy Mayor Schultes.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I would just say that with the economic uncertainty that we're now facing and budget numbers that we received this morning, I just don't think this is the right time for this. I think that we should delay it.
Okay, any further comment? Yes, Councilor Myers.
Thank you, Mayor. How long are we gonna wait for this? That's what I'm worried, because, that seems it's crumbling, this building. We just put 55,000 into the dome, what's gonna happen to the salt shed, what's gonna happen, down the road, so. I don't know, you wanna just keep on putting lipstick on a pig, basically? I don't. That's my opinion.
I'm not against principle of having an operations center like that. I can see the efficiencies, and I can see the benefit of it. My concern is, if you're gonna put that much money in a building, I just wish it had more exposure to the community. It's tucked away beside Trillium there. If you don't use a landfill, you'll not even know that building exists. And in terms of our branding and our image and just the optics of it, I'm not against the idea. I can see the logic in it, and I can see the benefit in it, but I just wish it was on, a county road going into, Blanco, Wardsville, or something, or Appin, or something like that, just on the main road. But it's just I feel it lacks exposure is my concern, and I know that's more of an aesthetic thing, not an operational thing. But just that to me, it certainly improves your branding when someone drives by and sees a new building, a new operations center with our logo on it, and we look extremely progressive as a municipality, and that imagery is tucked away beside Trillium. That's my concern. There might be ways to address that in selling that property, purchasing another, and going ahead with that, or examining the property that we do have. But that's my opinion. So, I'd like to sit and investigate that option. Mark, do you have a comment on that?
Well, I just wondered if I could ask Amanda through the mayor, what's the odds of us getting some money from the federal or provincial government to help us out with doing something like this? Because I see it, I'd like to do something like this, but I don't think we can afford it given the budget numbers we were shown this morning. We're looking at some big tax increases without doing something like this. If we could get some provincial or federal help, maybe we could go ahead with something like this in the future.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. So right now, there are no grants available that would support this that I'm aware of. But we would continue to monitor, of course. Typically, for building new facilities, there often are not as many grants as there are for like hard infrastructure, but they do exist. Especially if you're looking at an operational efficiency and particularly like energy savings or efficiencies. But there are none that I'm aware of right now.
Yes, Councilor Hager?
Through the mayor, like Middlesex Center, we toured it, it's off on Denville Road on the way, just on the Delaware. The Delaware one, most of the county ones are out of the way, or the high part of it is still outside the city. So,
Yeah, but it's on a main road, it's a lot, yeah, go ahead.
it's not that far off the main road, and if you really wanted to, and you own the 20 acres of this, then you could put, I'm sure we can figure a way to put the road in off, right? But that building, something has to be done, but what's got to be done with the infrastructure at this point? I would like to see this stay in place, but I would like to keep both options there. And if somebody can do a study or come up with something on, something that we could see if it was to go up there, bring it back, and then maybe put it off the next year.
One very positive optic of this recommendation is that we do need an upgrade in our transfer station. And that's part of this project, as I understand. And I'm glad to see that in there because improvements in the way we handle the garbage and the transfer of garbage into a site for pickup. I think it's extremely important that we make some improvements on that, and this recommendation does have that criteria. And any further questions? Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Just to recap, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. With the Glencoe lead drain, we're sitting at over 8.5% on our tax increase. So if we add this $250,000, that's going to put us about 11%. And to me, that's just too high for this year. That's why I think we should come in.
Yeah, it's what if we, this is not in budget discussions right now.
No.
Okay, what if we move this into budget discussions so that we've got the opportunity to bring it back to the council or shoot and discuss it? Okay, we can either leave it in there or we can re-examine it. But if we move it to a budget discussion, that would be that would, instead of just turning down the recommendation or ignoring the recommendation, it would still be a viable conversation in the future. Do that. That's an option council may have. I'm not sure whether that would work for administration, but certainly advises if an issue there. So what's your wish, council? Yes, Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. And just like to point out, I believe some of this report is misinformation as well. I took a look at the farm. We took 20 acres of best ground down there, and the rest of the ground is all rolling. There's a ravine through it. So I believe that's misinformation. That is worth that kind of money per acre. And it's not all worthwhile either. So, and then also the apple garage, I think is overvalued as well. It's just like I was talking to Councilor McCall, not even a street there, I don't think. You don't have enough water pressure or nothing for going lots. So I think that's also misinformation.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, and thank you, Mayor, and Councilor Vick and I did talk about the evaluation of buildings, and just for council's information, to come up with the numbers that are included in the report. We did use the current value assessment of existing properties that is in our tax system, so that's how we got the app and garage number and the Glencoe garage number. And then we use an average of 20,000 an acre for the farm. That would be high for the amount, but that's below the average of farm sale prices right now, so we thought it was conservative. But again, these were just estimates provided for information purposes.
Councilor Hagan?
So do you need a motion to put this over on to talk about it when we go to the budget?
Yeah, I do.
I'll motion.
Okay, your second. Move to, your wishes to move the discussion regarding this operation facility budget for consideration?
Correct.
Okay. Is there a second for that? Councilor Myers, all in favor? Okay, 1, 2, 3, all opposed? 2, 3, 4. Motion is defeated. Okay, what's your wish, Councilor? They made it, okay, so no other motions are here? Okay, all right, so, no recommendation, yeah, what you do that.
Yep, thank you. I just wondered why the industrial land hasn't been considered for this. Why are we doing Tram and not at the industrial park by the fire hall? I just wondered if there's been any consideration of that.
Sure, through you, Mayor. So we did consider the industrial park lands. It doesn't offer the same strategic advantage for the transfer site replacement, which is one piece. And the other one is that, as you know, we do have a grant and a loan application in for service in the industrial park for sale. So because we're actively working on a project that would optimize that land for job creation and economic development purposes and diversifying our tax base, it was not considered at this time. Certainly, if that project is unsuccessful and not pursued, we could re-examine. But because of all the other factors at play on that other parcel, it was not recommended for this purpose.
Totally understand. I just thought we would have services there anyways, whereas I'm trying to provide other services on there that are going to cost. So just something to consider.
Okay, council, no action is taken on 8.1.2 or 8.1.3 rather. Okay, we'll leave that for now. Clerk, none. Finance, none. Public Works,
The clerk does have a notice in addition to the agenda,
yeah.
a report on the Ward 3 council vacancy.
Oh, yes, that is,
Item 821, it's a new item.
okay.
821.
821, all right, that's fine, yeah, it's not on it. Yes, the vacancy of council, Kendra will advise council on that. And Kendra, please walk council through this.
This is just a formal appointment of Marjorie Emery as Ward 3 councillor for Southwest Middlesex for the remainder of the council term. As in the report, her plan is to do her oath of office at the March 19th meeting, for which then she would join as a member of council. So just looking to formally appoint her at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. Certainly council gives her congratulatory remarks, and we certainly wish Councilor Choi the very best in the future. And we welcome Mrs. Emery to Horseshoe on March 19th. Can I have a motion to receive Kendra's report and information? Councilor Myers, Councilor Haggett, all in favor? Carried. Okay, finance none, public works, we're gonna. Look at 841, we're glad to have, did I see Sam here? Is he here? No, Sam? Oh, somebody on the screen, there we go. It's there, Sam. So, yeah, we certainly are looking forward to seeing the summary report of drinking water 2014. Sam Smith is with us, and Morrow, it's your pleasure to step in after Sam's presentation for any information that council can glean. Please go ahead, Sam. I'll let you kick it off.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hopefully you guys can hear me all right.
You're fine.
Perfect. All righty. So yeah, this is the annual report, the summary report. So I always like to read the letter that's addressed to Mr. Castrilli. So attached is the 2024 summary report for the Southwest Middlesex distribution system for January 1st to December 31st, 2024. This report is completed in accordance with Section 11 and Schedule 22 of OREG 170 under the Safe Drinking Water Act. The summary report is to be provided to all members of council by March 31st. Section 12 of OREG 170 requires the annual report required under Section 11 to be made available for inspection by any member of the public during normal business hours without charge. The report should be made available for inspection at the office of the municipality or at a location that is reasonably convenient to the users of the water system. So I'll jump into the report here. It's fairly standard. Many of you have seen these before, but I'll kind of go through it. So our appliance report card, we did have our one inspection. That inspection yielded 3 non-compliances. We had 2 community complaints and 1 water main break. Nothing has changed in the system description. It's all the same. Same with our chemicals, nothing's changed there. We had no adverse water quality instances. But the non-compliance identified during the ministry inspection. So these are administrative non-compliances. There was never any issue with the quality of water or anything like that. And unfortunately, it was one instance that caused 3 non-compliances. So how these inspections work is they have questions. The inspector has questions they have to answer. And if they can't answer yes, then it's considered a non-compliance. So essentially what it was that it was our Aquas operator not identifying that he was taking direction from an charge. They were an OIT, so an operator in training, and they weren't logging that they were taking direction from an operator in charge. And unfortunately, that one instance caused these 3 non-compliances. So what we've done is we've created a standard operating procedure that the OITs can reference, and then they don't need the direction of an operator in charge. So again, it's a administrative error, and we did get, unfortunately, smoked with three no questions on the inspection. So that's what those are. Flows are actually, we've seen a 5.6% decrease from 2023. I don't really have any explanation for that. I know there's lots of pipe going in the ground and potentially, but I guess there's just the houses haven't been built yet, but I'm sure they're coming. But a 5.6% decrease was noted. As far as lab results go, like I said, no, there was no adverse lab results. Everything is within parameters for that. For distribution, for the maintenance, there's some minor HVAC repairs. We replaced a flow control valve at the reservoir in West Lauren there, or just on the outskirts of West Lauren. It was also inspected as part of a 5-year schedule. We did some hydrant repairs. We completed the fire flow testing, which is a requirement of the NFPA and the AWWA standard for fire flow testing to be completed every 5 years. And then we did have some water main and service repairs as well. So that's the summary.
Thank you, Sam, very much. Council, any questions to Sam? Laurel, you okay? All right, thumbs up. That's a good sign. Well, Sam, we are pleased that things are under control and any non-compliance was minor in nature. We'd like to hear that, and our quality of water is proven. Is there any questions any member of council has that you wish to direct to Mr. Smith? Seeing none, we could, the recommendation is before you to receive the report for information. Is there a mover and a seconder? Councilor McCollum, seconder. Councilor Mink, questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you, Sam, once again.
Thank you, everybody.
Down the road. Limerick landfill closure, perhaps many of us have received calls on this, what all the activity is. And Mauro could walk us through this and give us a report on the status of it. Please go ahead, Mauro.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Myself and Fabiano, project engineer, are also here to answer any questions, but I'll give a brief little overview of the report, and then Fabiano can jump in and add his comments too. So obviously on January 15th, council awarded the Limerick landfill closure to ASG. Provisional items allowing municipalities to secure favorable pricing for optional work were within the agreement. The reason for this was to avoid contract change orders and markups if deemed necessary. The provisional items were not included in the base tender as staff and the engineering consultant hoped they would not be needed, potentially resulting in cost savings for the municipality. However, they were listed as provisional items to provide flexibility if required within the project. It's been determined that the removal of the existing fence and the installation of a new fence, and just recently to extend the monitoring wells, and there was also some additional clay, which I will let Fabiano speak to in a moment, which were all listed within the provisional items as flexibility. To prevent delays, staff's recommending council approve all provisional items now, ensuring timely project execution. The total cost, including the provisional items, was approximately $1.297 million, excluding HST, which still remains within the estimated budget of $1.75 million. ASG Excavating Incorporated was still the lowest tender price, even with the inclusion of the provisional items. And Fabiano, the senior waste engineer from WSP, is here via Zoom, and I'll pass it over to him for any additional comments.
Fabiano, welcome to Southwest Middlesex Council. We're pleased to have you, and you take the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mauro. So, Mauro already provided a brief overview. I may be repeating some of the items here, but just to add a bit more perspective here. Yeah, at the time, like Mauro was saying, at the time of the contract awarding, it was not evident that these provisional items would be needed. However, once the contractor mobilized, the construction started in the first week of February, it was verified that the site conditions actually changed for different reasons. I can expand. And some of the provisional items would actually be required to be completed. We know for sure that fence replacement is needed. And the reason is because the vegetation changed, vegetation advanced towards the fence, and it's impossible to complete the work without removing the majority of the fence now. Monitoring wells will be needed to be extended just to have them working for the long term. Additional clay cover is also needed. We confirm this is also a provisional item. And the reason is because as they were excavating the ditch to direct the stormwater to the proper locations, some waste was found in there. So the cover is going to need to be extended a bit further beyond the limits that we believe it existed before. So those are the main reasons. Yeah, there is also now testing available for the soils that we didn't have before. Now we are seeing that the soil has some silts, and for this reason, some erosion control is going to be needed to have everything stabilized, stay in place, because the soil has more fines than we knew about. So to address all this and to ensure the successful completion of the project, we are recommending the provisional items to be added to the contract. And what I want to say is that even with the addition of the provisional items, ASG contracting is still the lowest bidder. And then also the total cost, including the provisional item, would be about $1.3 million. And this is still below my maximum $1.4 million estimate that I had before. And I think that would be the summary.
Okay, all set? Thank you very much. Council, I believe the presentations are finished. Is there any questions that Council would like to ask? Councilor Link, please go ahead.
It's hard to decipher all this, so I'm just trying to find the bottom line from the ratepayers. So the cost has increased by $420 from the last report, is that correct? And the second question is this reflected in the new budget, the increased cost?
Yeah, I think we certainly will ask administration to clear that. I can ask more or Amanda, you seem to nod in your head or more.
I can answer the first part of it. Yes, the additional cost is the $420,723. And that provisional item, there's a brief description of all those provisional items. We're not hoping to use all that, but if it's needed, then we'll use it and then save some time for us coming back to council. As far as the budget, did we include that? The additional comments, I'm not sure if we included in the additional items on the budget.
Can you clarify that, Amanda? Yeah.
We have 353, 300 on the budget.
So then I don't.
So my understanding is that this is additional to the tender number. The 353 that's in our budget is the tender number. Now, whatever is increased, remember it's split up between the three municipalities as well. So we'll pay a portion of that. And again, this will go back to, we have the reserve for this. So it's not that it's going to be any addition to our taxes.
That we meet, if I understand good, moral we meet compliance, this is going to be necessary to meet compliance and closure when the ministry comes in and inspect it.
That is correct.
Councilor McGill?
The only provisional thing that we know for sure we need at this point is the fence. So how much is the fence going to cost?
There. At this point, there's 3 provisional items that we need. I know in the report it was just the fence, but since the report was written in today, there's been new items that have come up. And Fabiano, which mentioned, one is the extension of the monitoring wells, and then the additional clay cover that's required for the waste that we found in an area that wasn't supposed to be.
Yes, Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I had a couple of questions. First one was, what type of fence will we be putting up?
Standard farm fence.
Fire
Page fire and cedar posts.
Okay.
Just what's there now.
What's there now?
Yes.
And also, what soil has too much silt in it?
I will defer that question to Fabiano.
Fabiano, can you clarify to council the silt situation that was found from the runoff?
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time. Would you be able to repeat the question?
You had mentioned that there was soil that you found had too much silt in it.
Yeah, right.
Just wondered, where did that soil come from?
Yeah. So when I say too much silt, maybe I was exaggeration. There is some silt. It's mainly clay. It's actually a very good quality soil, and it's coming from the greenhouse construction project. So it's being ported from there. That's your question.
That we tested that soil before we moved it.
Yeah, we didn't test before because we didn't have a source, identified source, but now we did. We tested the soil. We know is a good quality. It is acceptable by the project specifications. So there is no problem with the soil. We just need to put that erosion control in place to secure that until get stabilized.
Okay, any further questions or clarifications needed? Yes, Councilor Vink, go ahead.
Yes, we are told it doesn't affect the tax rate, but it does lower our reserves, and we still have to close the landfill site trailer, which is going to be much more.
Yeah, we knew we'd have to close these quite some time ago, and councils have been aware of that, and putting money into that reserve. Any further questions? Like, from the conversation, I'm just not sure what the council are trying to get a little later. Did you want to separate the fence from the testing wells and just do the fence first, or did you want to do the whole project so we meet compliance?
Can we?
Yes, Councilor Hagan, followed by Deputy Mayor.
Well, does it have to be done? Is it long, does it have to be done?
To meet compliance to the
Yeah.
ministry, and like, we'll just check on that.
I will defer that to Fabiano to answer.
Okay, Fabiano, is this required to meet compliance from the Ministry of the Environment?
It is required, yes.
Then I'll move it.
Okay. Is there a second? Ed, thank you. Questions? All in favor?
No.
Oh, sorry, Mark, yeah, this year, I could up there.
So who are we giving, if we pass this recommendation, are we giving authority to Fabiano to do this, or is he gonna have to check with Morrow? Because I wanted to at least come back to our staff for you know,
For tenders?
before any of these extra measures are done with, you know, pricing.
Yeah.
If we have to do this, it's gonna cost so much more. If we have to do that, it's gonna cost so much more.
Yes, absolutely. Anytime there's any extra work that has to be done, has to get approval by municipal staff before commencement.
Could I ask a follow-up?
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
So if for some reason, Fabiano came back and said something extra needs to be done, and, you know, the company we've hired to do this work has said it's gonna cost X number of dollars, would Morrow be able to look into whether it maybe could be done by somebody else for less, or not? Because,
That's a contractual question that maybe I'll defer to Fabiano. It's my understanding that we are under an agreement with them and we have to work within that agreement. I don't think we can go outside the contract, but we can work. That's why we put these provisional items in there, so that this way, we didn't anticipate that the work was we were hoping that the work wasn't gonna need to be done, but if it did have to be done, we had a set price, because a lot of times with these contracts, you get extras and they do mark them up. And that's why we were putting these provisional items, to avoid that markup, to try to save the municipality some money.
Yep, follow it, go ahead.
so are all these extra provisional items on the contract, are they all listed separate? You know, like if we have to do a fence, it's gonna be so much, and if we have to do dirt, it's gonna be so much a cubic meter or something like that?
Yeah, that's correct. As I have it listed in the report, additional erosion control, extension monitoring wells, clay cover, it's all listed and it gives you a set price. So if we need to use it, we have that price and we use it.
Well, I think I'm okay with, it gives a lot of authority to our staff, but it moves things forward, so I will support the recommendation.
Yeah. Moved, a second, Kendra, you got that? Moved by Jody, second by Councilor McGill.
No, it was Ed.
Oh, Ed, okay, Ed moved it, okay. Yes, Jody, question?
Just one comment. Let's not forget, the past council passed to close these dumps, knowing the consequences and the cost to the ratepayers. So if it has to be done, it has to be done. I think Morris did a terrific job of this, trying to keep it where it needs to be. That's my comment.
I think we're also very fortunate to have the soil from Ontario plants. I think that was a real advantage that previous councils did not have at the time, and that was a huge contribution, a positive contribution to the project. Okay, any further questions? Last call for questions. All in favor of the recommendation? Carried unanimously. Thank you, Mauro, and thank you, Fabiano, very much for your contribution there. It's much appreciated.
Thank you.
We're at 8.5, Community Service and Facilities. There's none at present. Kevin, we'll hear from you down the road. And Fire, there's none. In Building, we've had none at present. Artie's report was well received. Planning, we don't have anything today. We hope that changes in the near future. Notice of motion, the chair has not been advised of a notice of motion. Correspondence and petitions. I'll let Amanda present this. And just remind council that we are mandated to provide governance of certain things, and other requests sometimes are outside of our scope of service. And just like council to think about that during this request.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. So I can just present that we have received this request from the Glencoe District Historical Society. They submitted this for consideration in our 2025 budget process. As you can see, they've made specific requests for specific amounts, totaling some significant dollars. Some of these are for repairs to inactive cemeteries. Others include historical display space. There's a request for records, which I do know is on our radar already, and we are investigating that, as well as some maintenance to facilities and other cemetery repairs. So the details are outlined in the request. I can confirm that these figures have not been allocated in the 2025 budget details that you saw earlier today. It is provided here for correspondence and council direction should you wish to provide any. Thank you.
Okay, council, any questions you'd like to put through to Amanda through the chair? Recommendation, yes, Deputy Mayor, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Some of these don't have full pricing, so we can't do much with. But the one I'm wondering if we could include is the display case at the arena. They've been working on this for quite some time, and I think it's a modest amount, and it's going to be done locally. And I wonder if we could have that included. It's the second item.
Okay. The heritage display case, yeah. Yeah, as long as we can find money. Yeah, Kevin, any contribution? Is any research done on the footprint? Is there space allocated for this?
Yeah, Harold and I have talked a couple times about it, and he does have a specific spot where he would like it to be hung, and it would be down the hallway, down by the washroom area. It's the largest section of wall that we would have.
It doesn't compromise the width of the hallway in any way?
Not with only being 7 inches deep, but the concern will be the height for the corners and whatnot for people's heads, young children's heads coming through, but other than that, that's something we can discuss at the time if this goes through.
All right. And the contractor is local, I understand. Yeah, I understand. Okay, Deputy Mayor, I suggest that let's attach them here, so would you put that forth as a motion? Okay, is there a second for that? Councilor Hagan. Okay, and that is in regard to, we've extracted that from the request, and we'll deal with that separately, and the rest will be received for information.
Just if I could just also, they're also looking for
well, was it necessary to put a specific amount on here, so, Gary, did you want to go the whole 3,000?
We'll probably go the whole 3,000, but it looks like it will probably be less if they get donations.
Okay, all right. Okay, Councilor Vink, and I noticed your hand up, thanks for your patience, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. I did notice it says urgent repairs in the Warsaw Museum. Maybe that should be talked about in the budget as to what they mean by urgent repairs.
Yeah, I think they're getting chilly in there, yeah.
I have to look at, I know that it has something to do with the entrance door on the front. I think they want to replace the entrance door on the front, it's too drafty.
Okay.
Last time I talked to Ken, that's what I mentioned.
We can bring that up in a further discussion, but I think, Martin, thank you for bringing that to the table, because I agree that that is a concern that should be addressed. Okay, anyway, yes, Heather.
So would you confirm the motion is to include it in 2025 budget discussions, or is that the direction?
Yes.
Okay. Put that down.
Did I need an amendment to include Martin's about Wardsville? Could we investigate what is needed there?
Yep, I can.
Okay, yeah, that's good, okay. That's a very old building, that's one of the oldest buildings in Southwest Middlesex. Yeah, really old. Okay, motion is on the floor, I'll call for discussion. We're dealing with, we're gonna examine the municipality's, position and contribution to the historical display case at the Glencoe Arena, and to address some shortcomings in the Wardsville Museum. And these will be put to budget, and that will put them in a scenario some way. Okay.
Call the question.
Yep, I will. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Carried. I appreciate some concerns when they don't give support, because we have a lot of areas, the Wardsville Museum, we have the Glencoe Horticultural Society, and of course the Eckford Museum is a very active place on the John Hopkins, so I can see that you shell out money all the time for these organizations, and it can be a concern to council. So, Councilor McCollum, I just want you to know I share some of your concerns too. Okay. All right, we're at 11. Unfinished business. There is none. New business, no items were removed from the consent agenda. County Council and conference updates. I do not believe there has been any. And we are going to go into committee of the whole, but we're going to proceed, skip that, and put that at the end of the agenda. Council, are there any announcements? Yes, Martin.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. Sorry, I don't want to talk too much about this morning, but I did forget to bring up one point. When I looked at the ward map, it mentioned Ward 3, Moser, and Warsaw wasn't included in that map.
Yeah.
Right. And Warsaw was a village on its own as well.
Oh, yeah.
So when we had that budget diagram, I feel Warsaw should be included.
It surely should be, yeah. It's probably an old Google map. Yeah, okay. Point that Amanda will take back with her. Okay, Council, we will look at the bylaws. I'll briefly advise these have been printed. 17 vote a bylaw to authorize the signing of the lease agreement with the Ontario Realty Corporation, known as 157 Water Street. Okay, yeah. Is there a problem?
No problem. So, from the discussion with council, we're going to remove that bylaw until it's amended, correctly and bring it back. So that's the, bylaw 2025-024 will come back at the next, meeting, amended as requested by council. So at this time, the, resolutions or bylaws will just include.
17, 2, and 3, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So bylaw authorizing the signing of agricultural lands lease agreement with T. McTavish. And a bylaw to consider the proceedings of council. Is there a mover or a seconder for those? Mr. McCollum, Mr. McGill, all in favor? Carried. Future meetings are there. Busy week coming up, March 19th and the 20th. And April 9th are scheduled there. And if any emergent meetings or additional special meetings are required, you'll be notified. We're going to pass on adjournment, and we will undertake at this time to have a motion to go into closed session pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act. And we are going for the holding of a meeting in closed session for a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land, a proposed or pending acquisition of land, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege. We're deciding to do that. Councilor Fink, Councilor Haggett. Any questions? All in favor?